Thank you for watching the Whittemore Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner.
It says it's time for broadcast. Or at least that's what it said. So, good evening. I'm Ed McQueen. I'm your co-host for the WC Magazine Live. We're going to get right into it today. First, I can't speak for my co-host right now because last week we just missed her last week so much that what can I say? But my sister April Garner, and she as soon as I'm Ed McQueen. I'm your but my sister. I don't want to get out. I'm about to turn off on the wrong track.
You muted. I don't know what you got going on, brother Edward. You've had plenty of time to practice.
Yeah. But I'm going to make sure that everybody was seen at the time. So
I got you.
April Garner, our co-host, and it's always good to have her back. Man, got her back.
How's everybody doing? Reverend Falk, Dr. Hodges.
Hi, April.
All right, brother Edward, it's good to be back.
Yes, indeed. On this very important topic, we've been trying to get this kind of topic on for some time, and your dentistry is a key medicinal arena that a lot of people in certain incomes don't get the opportunity to do. And I think after today, after explaining and having a discussion on what's available, and they don't have to be afraid now because of the COVID-19 and so forth. And they might get into some of the different types of insurances that are available for low income. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, we have Dr. Terran Hodges, and he's going to give us a good narrative on this today. And so if you have questions, statements that you want to make, commentary, please send us in on our comments board, and we'll certainly try to air them for you. Afterwards, we've had a unique discovery by none other than Reverend Jerry Falk, pastor of Mount Pisgah, the mighty Mount Pisgah Church out on 701 in Conway, South Carolina. And he discovered a black business directory. I think you will be not just left in awe, but I think you can appreciate what we had, the prevalence of what our capabilities were in terms of entrepreneurship in the black community in Horry County. So, Reverend Falk, stand by, brother, and yep, and we will make sure that our viewers get the opportunity to even ask questions on that. So, April, we're gonna. I just want to start off by telling our viewers that this COVID-19 pandemic, which is becoming worldwide, is now a significant public health challenge. So dental care providers, we talked about it earlier, they're at high risk due to the nature of their profession, which necessitates close proximity to patients' oropharyngeal region. And that's the region that relates to the part of the pharynx that lies between the soft palate. The soft palate is behind the nose, okay? And correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Hodges, at any time, you drop in, okay? Now, it's in a region and the use of droplet and aerosol generating procedures, okay? So, again, the pharynx is a hollow tube behind the nose. So that's what, and I brought that up because, our guest, Dr. Hodges, does surgery and implants to a great extent. I assume other forms of surgery also. So, having said that, we found that the American Dental Association published a nationwide recommendation that dentists postpone elective procedures through April 30th. This last April 30th, okay? And I don't know if they've resumed or not, but but some states have converted that recommendation to what they call a mandate. And for instance, Florida governor, if you are aware of his name is DeSantis, issued a temporary mandate that prohibits dental, orthodontic, and endodontic offices from providing any medical unnecessary, non-urgent or non-emergency procedures or surgery, which, if it is delayed, does not place a patient in immediate health danger. Okay. So having said that, I'd like to start by asking Dr. Hodges if there's such a mandate, like I just talked about, is that in South Carolina? Is that something that you're following?
We get emails from the American Dental Association.
Right.
They come through with updates about this going on, that going on, so on and so forth. The last thing that I actually got from the State House, from the governor's office, was via the South Carolina Dental Association, and they did say exactly what you did say a little while ago. I have not received anything yet from him in the regards of, well, I guess mirroring what Governor DeSantis is saying, and also praying that we do not get to that point. But if we get to that point, we'll obviously follow by the guidelines that are set by the state and local officials. As you probably already know, many of us at this point are practicing our social distancing as much as we can. Obviously, being a dentist, we can't always practice being 6 feet away, but we can, however, do everything. We've got PPE, we've got our gowns, we double masks, and that's something that we're doing without the pandemic going on. We're always covered up, eyewear, nosewear, face wear already, without there even being a pandemic going on. So in dentistry, that's something we're taught irregardless. That's what we're taught, to protect ourselves as well as people that we're taking care of.
Yeah. Before we go any further, would you advise the audience where you're located, your dental office is located, and what's the name of your practice, by the way?
All right. We are, the name of the practice is Inlet Premier Implant Cosmetic Dentistry, and we're down on the 17th bypass, just north of Garden City. The actual address is 9356C Highway 17 bypass 29576.
Okay. Sound like a service road, right? That it's on.
Yes, sir. It sits off the service road. This right there, you can see the actual, as you know, you can see the building from the highway. It's right there.
Right.
But they don't say front, for whatever reason. The county won't call it frontage road. They just call it 9356C Highway 17 bypass.
Well, I think that's more accessible when it says you're still on highway 17 bypass. So, okay.
Yeah, but we do have our fair share of people, trying to find us, even though everybody's not used to getting on a frontage road. Sometimes can get confused.
Right. So, could you narrate, and you all can jump in, you can jump in when you want to, April. Could you narrate to us why, what is about non-urgent that they are kind of mandating?
Non-urgent are things that, like you mentioned before, anything that is not a pressing matter. There are some that would argue that dentistry itself is non-essential. I thoroughly disagree. Many people do not look at it the way us dentists as practitioners see it, but the reality is dental healthcare is healthcare. That's the reality. People don't realize that their mouth is their teeth. Their oral health is the beginning of digestive health and the beginning of, a lot of what we take for granted as far as internal medicine is concerned. Digestion, so on and so forth. Mastication, that's a big part of that. And many people don't understand that it's important to be able to chew your food. Without the teeth that we do have, it can be difficult to chew. Difficulty chewing will cause, problems in digestion. Problems in digestion lead to a whole cascade of other problems, as you all know, in regards to diabetes, hypertension, so on and so forth. At my practice, we are trying to currently right now we are trying to catch up with the slowdown and not treating some of the essential things that we were doing while the pandemic was going on in the summertime. We're back to doing cleanings pretty much almost full scale. Now, there are some people that are apprehensive. I think a lot of that changed after the announcement of vaccines. But, even before the pandemic, we had quite a few patients that were in need of dental emergency care. And when I say that, you've got people that actually have abscesses, teeth that need to come out, people that are hurting, in an effort to keep the patients that are in need of antibiotics from going to the emergency room. South Carolina Dental Association said, hey, like you already know, do what you can, via telehealth. But, obviously to get patients from going to the emergency room just to get antibiotics or pain pills behind teeth, we were told to stay open. We were encouraged to stay open and take care of that, which is what we did.
There's a lot of pain there we're talking about, aren't we?
There's no pain like tooth pain.
No.
There's no pain like tooth pain. But I haven't read everything that they rolled out for the state of Florida. But in many cases, I don't know how I feel about the restricting on endodontic services. You can put a patient on antibiotics, but for so long, and I don't know how long they plan on having that in place. Don't get me wrong, they have a serious issue with the outbreak of the actual virus there. But many times when it comes down to endo or actually addressing an infected pulp of a tooth, that's something in my opinion I would address, seal up, situate, and then have the patient come back to get a bridge or a crown later. That can wait. But essentially trying to get a patient out of harm's way with regards to a dental infection that can spread elsewhere, I would encourage that to be done. So that's my take on endo. Ortho, you can wait on that. Understood. Cleanings, that can be waited on. But when you're talking about endo, you're talking about possible infections spreading elsewhere, which is not what you need. Many people don't realize that after not having your teeth cleaned for X amount of time, a lot of plaque, people know what plaque is. People may understand what calculus is, but a lot of bacteria can live under the gum line. So we have patients that are being managed in what's called a perio protocol or a periodontal maintenance protocol, where we actually go in and go under the gums to the regions where the patients can't get to with a toothbrush on a regular basis and go and clean that stuff out. Because many times when that is left unchecked, you have problems. And, if we can manage that without endangering a patient so that the patient doesn't lose teeth, we try to do that.
Right. I was just looking at TV the other night, and I saw this commercial where they were advertising something like oral gel that if you have pain around a tooth, then you can just apply that stuff and the pain goes away. How long does that last? I haven't had to use it, but
I'm glad you haven't had to use it. As you can probably guess, when it comes down to what you see as far as advertisement, that's a marketing gimmick to sell. During a time like this, there are patients that can't get to a dentist. There are patients that don't want to go to a dentist and want to find something that's short term. There are times where oral gel can help, but oral gel is
it was named something else, by the way. I just oral gel is so old, but it was named.
I remember seeing the advertisement, but it's basically a topical anesthetic that will actually, you can use it short term, but it's not going to address, oral gel is not going to address a dental infection. Oral gel is not going to go get plaque bacteria from under your gum tissue. If you get a legit toothache or an abscess at the bottom, oral gel can give you some relief, but many times it's only temporary. When I say temporary, it doesn't last that long.
A few hours,
maybe a day. Many of the patients that I treat, they'll say they'll go buy a bottle, they'll get a little thing of oral gel just to tie them over till they can actually be seen. And many times it'll calm the tooth down so they can get some sleep.
Right.
But beyond that, unless you actually got an antibiotic on board with the patient, many times it's not going to curtail an active infection going on.
So if I were to just go back and get another cleaning, which is like I like to do, should I expect any more thorough restrictions based on what's expected with this pandemic? You know, they're expecting a second wave.
They are expecting. I was actually just listening in on that a few minutes ago. As of right now, we are not instructed to restrict. As like I was saying before, we're doing everything on our part to make sure that our oral pharynx and larynx are protected from anybody who comes in there. We're wiping surfaces down. I mean, this is typical everyday to day dental office. This is what we do because we work with the oral cavity. COVID-19 is the 19th version of this, and this is, you know, the strep is running around, influenza is running around. It's that time of year. So back in school, before we even got a dental degree, that's something we were taught to do. We're amplifying practices that we should have been doing before, which is wiping down door handles, wiping down, the counters where you check out, where you're making an appointment. Yeah. That's the little things that, people come through that door all day long. We do our best. We can wipe Lysol, whatever it takes. We wipe that stuff down. But as far as the the operatories where you go back and actually get treatment, those rooms are wiped down 100, 200 times a day with antifungals, antivirals, antibacterial. That's standard of care for us. That's what we do.
But you all can jump in whenever you want to. But if a person goes back and find that he or she is positive for the virus after they've been to your office, say 2 days ago or something like that, or 3 days ago, could that be? Are you all liable if they figure they trace it back to them?
We are liable. We actually not too long ago had to go all and get tested. We had a patient actually call back. They were nice enough to be transparent. Call the office, say, "Hey, I just tested positive. I'm asymptomatic, no problem," so on and so forth. I went and got tested. The ladies got tested, so everybody who was around the particular patient, we went and got tested. Even though we were fine, it can't hurt to go get tested. I don't want to be a spreader. My ladies don't want to be spreaders. We don't want to endanger anybody. But right. To be honest, from what I've read, we are liable for, in the middle of something, in the middle of a pandemic and in front of people and actively spreading, to answer your question.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, April, if you have any comments for Doc?
I actually I don't have any questions. I guess, he's probably doing the same thing that everyone else is doing, just like he said, in the medical world, just following all the COVID protocols and preparing for the second waves. And I'm sure you've had your share of dealing with the clients or patients who don't want to mask up and, but they want your services. Have you ever had to turn anybody away because they, didn't want to follow your protocols?
As of yet, we have not. I think we set the tone at the door. We are taking temperatures on everybody who walked through that door, and even on ourselves. We come through the back door. There's a thermostat back there. There's a thermometer back there. The thermometer back there is a thermometer at the front door. So anybody who comes into the office understands where we are for the most part. I haven't had any problems at this point. But hey, we're going to check your temperature. You're going to have to check yes to all these questions, regardless of whether I saw you last week or 6 months ago during the pandemic. Have you been exposed to anybody in the past 2 weeks? Are you feeling dizzy? Are you feeling have you had a cough? Are you feeling fatigued? So on and so forth. We ask those questions everybody walking the door.
Yeah, I think that's great.
And everybody. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go right ahead. I apologize.
No, I was gonna say I think that's great, and I think that the purpose behind the show that Brother Edward had as a goal for you being here is just to kind of put people's minds at ease if they are thinking about, continuing with their dental services or, even visiting your office, of course, but just dental services in general, because a lot of people are a little apprehensive about going out and trying to, live life on a regular and, keeping in with their appointments. They've canceled appointments along the way and all that. And I guess at some point we have to kind of reestablish a sense of normalcy so that people will feel comfortable about, getting back into their regular routine. So having you on the show today is good because you've talked about the things that you're doing and the protocols that are in place. And I would think that, that's your goal, right, Brother Edward, is just to make sure that everyone understands.
Absolutely.
What's going, what you're doing. So
that's what we're here to do. I want people safe. That
right.
At the end of the day, I want people safe, and I want people to understand that their safety is my main objective, in conjunction with their dental health. But here again, like I was saying, before we come out of dental school, it's you're working in the pharynx and larynx. Many pathogens can live, dwell, and stay in a pharynx and larynx, and a patient not be symptomatic at all. And we understand that, so we try to keep keep everything clean.
To our audience, I also want to focus on mildly. I'll put it. I'll use that word. The fact that we have a youthful dentist that we grow with our area here, and expect his services. If he deems to be profitable, expect his service to be around for a long time. And it's good to grow with a young dentist, okay, and with that knowledge, especially implant and stuff like that. And so I work on that, and that was one that adds to the value of you coming on this program, Dr. Hodges. And I'm sure your parents are probably, I know them, now.
I will give the credit where it's due. Without them, I would not be where I am now. Without my mom, my dad, and the support system that we have there, it's paramount. It's very paramount. So I'm blessed to have them, and more importantly, I'm blessed to have the outreach by you and your colleagues for doing what you're doing now. Because honestly, there are a lot of people that need to be educated just in dentistry itself. What dentistry, how important dentistry is. A lot of people do not understand. They don't get it. Oh, I don't need to have my teeth cleaned. There's nothing hurting, so on and so forth. So I'm sure I'm going to be back on the show with you, talking more and more about that, because a lot of people need to hear that. A lot of people need to understand, and here we go. This goes back to it to some degree, going back to something you said 23 minutes ago. There's a socioeconomic disparity in dentistry.
Absolutely.
The reality is, people that do not have insurance, people that don't have insurance, or people who have been paying for insurance are not realizing the necessity of actually going in and being addressed dentally. If there's nothing hurting, oh, I'm fine. 90% of the time, 95% of the time, that's not the case. So implants are fine, and many of the new techniques that are in dentistry are great. I'm doing my best to stay on top of a lot of that, but I'm still prevention oriented. I can do a million implants, but if I can catch a patient before they need a dental implant, or before they need that crown, or before they need that root canal, I've done my job. So then, as you all know, many people have, how shall I say it, unpleasant experiences, if you will.
I was just getting ready to say, yeah.
I hate to see the needle.
Many times, by the time a patient that has been neglecting their mouth for X amount of time actually gets to the dental office, it's, oh God, it hurts. He did this, he did that, so on and so on. Prevention is what I try to preach more than anything else. So, in light of the pandemic, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing to make sure there's no spread there. Obviously, we can't be 1,000% sure, but if I can prevent a problem, if I can prevent a person from having an actual abscess or dental emergency, that's what we're trying to do.
Let me say this: when I was growing up, I guess when I was in elementary school, I grew up in my family. We thought it was essential, to keep brushing your teeth, but I thought that was the panacea for everything. Okay, just brushing. Okay, until I think I got into like 10th grade, and I saw one of my classmates who came into the class, and he was showing us how teeth had been filled, and that was with the old silver stuff, right? The silver mixture, and,
Yes, sir.
and yeah, and it was dark, okay, and I'm like, I thought it was a cavity, but he was saying that it was filled, but that was a difference there between now socioeconomic. It really had come into play then. My income was very, very low compared to this person's who had access to a dentist. We had a dentist right here in Conway, okay? and we had access to a dentist, and the dentist filled his teeth. And I'm like, man, I don't want my tooth to be looking like that. It was in the back, even though it was in the back, but it was filled with something dark. I always thought that was a cavity. But I never failed to ask him to explain. But his parents saw to it that they wanted to, keep his teeth being healthy. My mom, my parents never told us that. I guess because they figured they wouldn't have the money anyway to do anything. So. But as I got older, man, I saw the value of it. And in fact, pretty soon after that, I saw that. So I started making that a number one priority in my life. Making sure.
I'm glad
because research shows that that's part of your bone structure. Is that correct? Your teeth.
What is that? It's a reflection of your bone. It's a reflection of your genetic makeup and bone. Your teeth are comprised of, predominantly a calcium phosphate with different amounts and percentages. And long story short, it's a reflection of your bone, if you will. I don't want to get out there and say it's bone, because teeth are not bone. They're different. They're chemically different than bone. But it's something that you still need to take care of.
Well, I can welcome that clarification about the teeth not being part of the bone, because I'm being told that a lot. That the teeth are part of your bones structure in your body. I'm glad to know that.
Let me shed some light on that. I'll put this in without making it a long, drawn out textbook conversation. Your teeth actually sit in very, very small micro ligaments that do sit in bone. But teeth themselves are not directly attached, unless there's a pathology involved, to bone, if you will. Teeth. If you could imagine a hip and if you could imagine a leg and a hip bone socket, if you will, just with the socket being a much smaller space, that's actually what our teeth sit in. So when we talk about periodontal disease, which is what I was talking about earlier. You talk about periodontal disease. If you have plaque and calculus that's sitting underneath the gum tissue for extended amounts of time, that plaque and that bacteria, it turns into a process that tears up bone that holds on to teeth. So your teeth will be there, but the bone that was holding on to the teeth goes away. So we're out here trying to educate and let people know, just because it doesn't hurt doesn't mean there isn't a problem.
Yep. So I just value that so much, and this information is really, to me, is paramount to good dental health, especially in low income neighborhoods. And I don't want to relegate that to just black neighborhoods. Okay, that's low income across all racial lines. I just
come to the issue around.
Yeah.
Everybody. That's everybody. Living here in Horry County, living where we are. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate why you're doing what you're doing, but I wish our message as dentists, as healthcare practitioners, we're trying to take care of people. Not just the people that there are people that have insurance, like you were saying earlier. People that have insurance that don't take advantage of it.
Yeah. We don't have time.
It's kind of sad.
We don't have time. But
like I tell some of my patients, I'd rather take care of it while it's inexpensive before it gets expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
Dr. Hodges, For most
Ma'am.
most of us who, can you hear me? For most of us who
Yes, ma'am.
have
Go ahead.
a corporate insurance, what we notice is that, of course, the dental care and vision care is not attached to the actual health care plan. You have like two separate cards or two separate accesses to that. Why do they separate it like that? I've always wondered why they're not all attached, because when you have your health care plan, your regular health care plan, people tend to use that particular insurance for anything that they consider to be medical or health related. And then the dental portion of it, it's almost like it's treated as an auxiliary benefit. And so I think that kind of distracts the mindset too, when people look at it as not really a part of health. So maybe there's that notion that they don't have to follow up on it as much as they do, regular health. So can you answer why it's split like that? Or, what is the concept?
You actually have the answer.
Oh, wow.
You actually
Okay.
just said the answer.
Did I? Okay.
Dental insurances are taking advantage of the fact that many people do not, for whatever reason. There's a host of reasons, but many people don't want to go to the dentist. Insurance companies that don't have to pay to be in network with a practitioner like myself, or any practitioner for that matter, if they don't have to pay out more money for you, then they won't. So they'll put this in front of you and say, hey, this is an option if you want it. But if you aren't that motivated to be about that, we're just going to leave that out of your policy. So you said it already. You've already answered the question. You just answered the question.
Okay.
That's what it is. We live in a society where, hey, you know what? There are that many people that just aren't that motivated to go see a practitioner on a regular basis. There are enough people out there now. If the whole entire United States of America, or wherever, if they were saying, hey, you know what, we need to be there, it wouldn't be a question. It would just be bundled on everybody's. But that's not the case. And I see that every day. I see the same patient every day. Doc, I don't like going to the dentist. I hate dentists. Can't stand dentists. So that's why.
And that's something that's totally ingrained in people. I mean, I'm like Brother Edward. I'm afraid of needles, and anything I had ever heard about dentistry was, oh, the needle. And so, you didn't have to show me that, Brother Edward. I mean, I I get it, but
insurance companies don't want to pay anything. They don't. The insurance company, their job is to take. I shouldn't say that. I'm not going to say that on TV. What I will say is this. If they do not have to come up with it to take care of you, they will not. I'll leave it at that. And I'm even for the dental insurance companies that we're in network with, they give us a hard time about taking care of the patients that are paying for the policy. That's another show. That's a different show.
Yeah, Brother Edward made the point a little bit earlier that that there's so many different things that dentistry is tied to. A lot of people don't know or may not understand that it's tied to heart health. You mentioned diabetes earlier, which of course that is intriguing for me because I am a diabetic, and I do understand. From my perspective, is more about the and I'll say my interpretation, a part of the healing process when it comes to certain things, but also I guess maybe there's certain breakdowns in the body that happen that, affect dental, could be the medications. I don't know. But I think that, it would be worth it to have, a series at some point, Brother Edward, with a focus on dentistry, not only on WCM Live, but also Dr. Hodges, how are your writing skills? We may need an article for the magazine.
That's right.
Because I think you do that because I think the more we educate people, maybe we can, take some of the fear and hesitancy out of wanting to take that step to see you or, a dentist of choice, because it's definitely a very essential thing. So
absolutely,
it is. It is. We can. I would love to come back and address diabetes. I would love to address heart disease. I would love to address the contributing factors of neglecting your mouth and how that can lead to those problems. The GI health, your GI tract that's an animal in itself.
Wow.
We can get there, but as I'll say this, Black people are genetically predisposed for diabetes and hypertension hypertension in the American diet as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
That's in literature. I can get that for we are genetically predisposed for a number of reasons. But an unchecked mouth and unchecked dental care, there are problems, heart disease, diabetes. There are things that we can do before we get to that problem, or for the patients that actually have diabetes that don't know it, or for the patient that has diabetes and actually is aware of it. There are things that we can do in the dental chair that prevent things from getting worse than they already are.
Mm-hmm.
Say that again.
That's why we're here.
You need to say that again about things that you can do. Say that things that you can do in the dental chair to keep things from getting worse.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is, so let's take a diabetic patient. Those are diabetic, they're type 2. They already know that they have diabetes, but deathly afraid of going to the dentist. The same diabetic patient, as you already know, it's not just about the sugars when it comes to diabetes. Diabetic patients heal slowly.
Mm-hmm.
They fight off pathogens slower and not as effective as a patient that does not have diabetes. All right, that's just literature. Many people don't know, many people don't think about stuff like that, but the diabetic patient will not fight off an infection the same way a patient that actually doesn't, the way we would. So with that being said, okay, that patient comes into office. That patient is between the ages of 50 and 65 years old. The patient's got plaque, calculus all around the mouth because they haven't been to the dentist in 20 years. I see this at my office frequently. I hate going to the dentist, but we've already got a patient that's taking medicine for diabetes, taking this, taking that. Probably, diabetes and hypertension run hand in hand in many cases with us. The patient has an active infection in their mouth that's not being addressed. So it's kind of like, okay, I want to lose weight. I want to do better with my diabetes, so on and so forth. I'm taking this pill, I'm taking that pill. But if we could address what's going on in the mouth and remove the pathogen out of the beginning of the GI tract, the patient could do better. I've seen it. I've seen it happen. So, like I said, it does go back to an extent to prevention. Well, the diabetic patient who just doesn't want to go to the dentist, I've seen infections spread, and I've seen mortality behind things of that nature, and it's sad because of fear. So I would like to make it easier for people to come see us, diabetic or not, hypertensive or not. I don't want to see anybody leave this earth because they left a dental infection unchecked because their diabetes could not, being diabetic, they couldn't fight off the infection, and you got some random strain of streptococcus travel down to the heart, and a patient have a cardiac embolism. That's not what we want to hear. I've heard it, seen it, it's in literature. We don't want that to happen to people. But here we go. It starts with fear. It starts with knowledge.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'd like to welcome, Reverend Falk. Reverend Falk, we're not excluding you, sir. If you want to ask a question, you see a question that you think is relevant to you, please ask the doctor.
I think this is very relevant, especially to people who are diabetic. I myself am diabetic, and I'm hearing and receiving information that I've never received from a dentist as pertains to my being diabetic. And so this is very, very educational, especially for us. So I was just wondering if Dr. Hodges were receiving or accepting new patients.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
I'll be glad to, Reverend, you are without a question. You have to.
That's awesome.
Please excuse us for not being able to get people in right away. Now, you don't have. I wouldn't assume that you have any dental emergencies, but due to the COVID, we're blessed in booking out a little ways. But obviously, you got something going on, Rev. Just call me. We'll get it done. But yes, I am, to answer your question. I'd be glad to take care of you.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Edward knows that I work late. He knows that I work late, and if I got to get in there and work late for you, I'll do it. And I apologize about not being able to come last time. I actually had a patient in the chair while y'all were on. But I'm working hard, just trying to keep up. You know, the pandemic has put a strain on human resources at the office. But like I said, I'm blessed and making it happen.
Mm-hmm. Brother Edward, share some of the comments that are on the stream. There's a couple, 3 comments.
Yeah, of course, your colleague, or your former colleague, Dr. Winston McIver Jr. said to say hello to you. He's from Horry Medical College.
Yes, sir. Let me run and grab a charging cord. Hold on. Don't move.
Charging card.
Why don't you go to commercial break?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, good idea, April.
Okay. Give him a chance to get his charger and charge up.
Yeah, you're back. Okay.
Yes. You know I'm a producer.
Yeah,
backstage, that's my thing.
April, what do you let's see.
Having problems with your vehicle? For quick, prompt, and courteous service, call Snag and Drag Towing. Gregory Graham will make sure that you're taken care of right away. 843-997-0751. That's Snag and Drag Towing Service at 843-997-0751. If you're looking for flowers for any occasion, the Daisy Fair Flowers is here to help you. They offer an enormous selection of flowers, gift baskets, and live plants for delivery in Conway, South Carolina. Serving Conway since 1980, the Daisy Fair Flowers, 1400 4th Avenue in Conway, or call 843-248-7222. You may also visit the web at thedaisyfairflowers.com. Looking for a full-service funeral home with a broad array of services? Look no further than McKeever Funeral Home at 1408 Race Path Avenue in Conway, South Carolina. They offer a wide variety of services, including traditional funerals, memorial services, and graveside ceremonies. You can reach them anytime, day or night, at 843-248-2706. That's 843-248-2706. McKeever Funeral Home in Conway, South Carolina. George L. Williams Jr. is CEO and licensed funeral director. Support. Do you need to complete your diploma or get your GED? Stop putting your future on hold. Contact the Horry County Adult Education Centers today. With 2 offices in Conway and Myrtle Beach, you'll be well on your way to a new career. Conway Education Center is at 843-488-6200, or the Myrtle Beach Family Learning Center is at 843-839-5400. You can also visit the website at hcae.horrycountyschools.net. Heating unit not working? Need answers right away? Call Quick Services Heating and Air Conditioning for comfort in a hurry. Quick Services Heating and Air LLC is the right choice for you. Call Kenya and Nina Keith at 843-488-1492. Residential or commercial financing available. You can also visit their website at www.quickserviceshvac.com. That's KWIKserviceshvac.com. Quick Services Heating and Air LLC, the right choice for you. Serving Horry County for over 79 years, Palmetto Chevrolet in downtown Conway has just what you need to find new roads. Come through and browse, make your selection, and find new roads right away. Palmetto Chevrolet, 1122 4th Avenue, downtown Conway. You can also visit palmettochevrolet.com or call the service center at 843-248-4283. Palmetto Chevrolet, find new roads. For all of your insurance needs, home, auto, and life, see how it feels to be on a #1 team with Tony McAfee of State Farm Insurance. Call Tony at 843-903-7800 or visit him at 3888 Renee Drive in Myrtle Beach. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Looking to start a new career? Train to work in Myrtle Beach. Class is starting soon. Free to eligible participants. Short-term, 3 weeks or less in hospitality, culinary, electrical, plumbing, and more at Horry Georgetown Technical College. There's more. Continuing education at 843-477-2020. Horry Georgetown Technical College, where there's more. Enjoy soul food the way your mama made it. You'll be surrounded by some of the best food in Horry County and affordable prices. Blue plate specials, senior plates, and more. Daily specials at Big Mike's Soul Food. Big Mike's Soul Food is located at 504 16th Avenue in Myrtle Beach. You can call your order in at 843-712-2048 or visit BigMikeSoulFood.net to find out about the latest specials. Big Mike's Soul Food. Soul food, the way your mama made it. Treating conditions from A to Z. Schedule an appointment today. Ask about acceptable insurance coverage at Waccamaw Primary Care, 660 Singleton Ridge Road, Conway, South Carolina. Dr. Winston D. McIver Jr., a trusted and reputable source in Horry County and beyond, has all you need for family practice and sports medicine. Call 843-234-4362 to schedule your appointment today. Waccamaw Primary Care, 660 Singleton Ridge Road, Suite A, Conway, South Carolina, 843-234-4362.
I'd like to ask that you please allow me to, have a shout out and thank you to some additional advertisers. Okay, these people are helping us to grow, and I just give me a few minutes to just name a few. Mount Moriah Missionary Baptist Church in Bucksport, Singleton Groceries, 6th Avenue in Conway, Cut It Barbershop, 4th Avenue in Conway, Nyes Pharmacy, 10th Avenue in Conway, Heads Up Cuts and Styles, El Bethel Road in Conway, South Carolina, Sam's Car Wash and Coin Laundry, and Mini Warehouse, 1800 on Rice Boulevard in Conway, Beauty Way Supply, 1710 Mills Road in Conway, Mix Master of Sounds featuring DJ Dr. Ice. Pleasure here. Mixing Sounds. He's located in Conway. Joyce Williams, she's at Wykert Realtors, Bethel AME Church, Chesterfield Missionary Baptist Church, Mount Pisgah, mighty Mount Pisgah. Dr. Reverend Falk is pastor there. Bethlehem #1 Missionary Baptist Church, Mission C Missionary Baptist Church in Greensea, South Carolina, Hemingway AME Church, Word of Life Christian Church, Mason Temple Church of God in Christ in Conway, Superior Window Cleaning. Kevin Mishu is the founder there. I just wanted to highlight those things to show our appreciation there, and hopefully we get a bit more advertising to keep us to show how we're going to be growing, and not just in our hard copy in our magazine, but on the airways as we're doing right now. And I'd like to advise our viewers this Friday coming. Going to see some things on, and we can tell you about it later on. But the network, the mighty network, that is networking all of the Black businesses and minority businesses across the nation. I'm going to say across the nation. All right, is that right, April?
That's right, Brother Edward. I'm not on the screen. It's just showing you. I don't know if they can hear me or not.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
But I heard I call your voice. I call your name.
It was like a ventriloquist thing or whatever. Just throwing my voice from behind the screen. But yes, thank you for the shout out for the network.
And we're getting better at that. Okay. So April, do you want to talk about our vaccine, our COVID testing tomorrow?
Yes. So we have a great event that's happening in the community, and I guess we can kind of call it the first of its kind, but we're hoping that it won't be the last. Yeah. And what's happening is a free COVID testing event. It's actually a drive-through testing event that is happening at Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, which is located at 1111 Granger Road in Conway. And it's a drive-through event. I'm not quite sure. My guess is that you're probably going to drive down the left side of the church where there's the covered walkway. Typically, that's where the disabled parishioners actually enter through that building. It's kind of like a service entrance or whatever. But it's going to be a drive-through testing site tomorrow, and this testing actually starts at around 8 a.m. So it's running through from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's sponsored by the Movement, DHEC, and Dr. Winston McIver Jr. And it's hosted, of course, like I said, at the church. So please spread the word. Dr. Mack and I, every Friday on the network live, we talk about COVID-19. As a matter of fact, we are now in week 37, 38. So we've been doing this now for about 8 or 9 months since the beginning of April. And I'm telling you, there has not been like ebbs and flows. It's basically been, skyrocketing, then just it leveled off just a little, and now it's back into a second wave. And so we cannot take this for granted. COVID is very real. It's alive and well. Unfortunately, I was speaking with someone today who was supposed to be a guest on my show and just found out that they tested positive for COVID. And so, it's shocking and still surprising. And the fact is that people are still walking around asymptomatic, not really knowing, not having any symptoms or what have you. And so that's the danger of it. The other part of it is that, people compare this to the flu and other diseases and illnesses that people die from annually. But what they don't understand is that COVID is killing people at a faster rate. And that's the problem. That's one of the main problems with this particular virus. Plus, there's no treatment. And of course, they're working on vaccines. But at the same time, there's still nothing that can be done if someone tests positive for COVID other than following the protocol to get better. And hopefully that works. We've seen a lot of cases where it simply hasn't. So especially after this Thanksgiving holiday, if you were around a lot of people, especially if they weren't immediate family, people that you don't live with, sometimes folks just show up at your house and, uninvited, and you're not quite sure of what to do. Hospitality kicks in. But at the end of the day, in COVID land, we have to be very, very careful. It's okay to, enjoy your family and friends, but you have to know who you are around, know their status, which is, one of the mantras for, other medical conditions that are out there, but it's very real for COVID. This is one way to get your holiday testing done, and it's free. I mean, it's absolutely free. So
say that,
hey, FREE period. And so you'll want to go to Friendship Missionary Baptist Church tomorrow, 8 to 2, drive-through testing, get it done. You don't even have to get out of your car. My understanding as well is that it's not as invasive, if you want to call it that, as when they first started and they felt like you were, was going all the way up into the nasal cavity, all the way back to your brain, as they said. I don't think that it goes back as far anymore. So, and especially if you are reporting to work, you may want to get it done more often if you can, especially if you're around a lot of people. I know some folks who are colleagues of mine who work in certain industries, and they try to have a test done at least once a month just to be on the safe side. So that's what's going on at Friendship, Brother Edward.
All right. I got to say that in the event of inclement weather, and we're not expecting any according to the forecast, but if that should happen, for example, rain, as April said, what they'll do, which was explained to me, was to go on the side and make a loop and come back under the canopy so that you can be serviced with the testing. Okay, that's it for that.
That's good. Mm-hmm. That's good.
All right, Dr. Hodges, it's been a pleasure, man. A real educational pleasure to have you on our program today. And to our audience, I'd like to say that we're going to have more information like this, not just dentistry, but other aspects of in the medicinal area. So, Dr. Hodges, if you have any last remarks, brother, before we say anything, and if you can hang around, if you like, you can listen to some of these what we have to say from history on Black businesses in Horry County, if you like, if you got the time. But in the meantime, if you would hook up with any remarks Any last minute remarks? We certainly appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I just want to say I'm very grateful to be invited onto the show. It's breaking up a little bit. I know my phone is dying. I plugged it up, but I know it's on its last leg. I just wanted to emphasize how grateful I am to be a part of what we're doing here, and I'm looking forward to coming back and doing more as much as I can.
Well, brother, we're looking forward to having you back. Okay, there's a lot more information out there that continues on, and I'm sure you're continuing learning yourself, which can bring it back to us. Okay, we appreciate that. Thank you so much. Next, we want to share with our audience. And Reverend Falk, thank you for being so patient.
No
problem. Of course, that's why we got you, because you're that patient guy. You always depend on you for being patient. But we certainly appreciate that. And hopefully you got, just like you expressed earlier, you've gotten some of the information that's being conveyed by Dr. Hodges yourself. So, Reverend Falk, if you could, Reverend Falk, let me say this. Reverend Falk is going to give us a narrative of something that he's discovered, and it's like a gold mine as far as I'm concerned. It's a directory of all Black businesses. Okay, that's pre-1985, I believe, right there, Reverend Falk. I'm just assuming that.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah. So, Reverend Falk, if you could just give us a shout out there and let us, give us some narrative on that, we'd appreciate it. Okay.
All right. Certainly appreciate it. Thank you for the invite to come and share with you. I'm part of the Kingston Lake Missionary Baptist Association, and a part of the association. The association has different auxiliaries that incorporates its body and its membership.
Right.
I was came a part of the Kingston Lake Young People's Association, which is an auxiliary of the Kingston Lake Missionary Baptist Association. Back in the early late 70s. At the time, the president was the current attorney, George Graham. And I was serving under his administration at the time. And this directory was, you may not be able to see it too clear, but this directory was one of the projects that was done under the Graham administration. It is a Black business directory. This was one of the major projects of the Kingston Lake Young People's Association, which I'm very glad that I became a part of it. I have no question about being a part of it. Have been educational to me and have certainly guided me in my approach as I were able to become leadership in both the church union of our association as well as the parent body, Kings Lake Association. But in this directory, Black Business Directory, consider it being done somewhere around 1976, 78, somewhere along there. But in this directory, we had listed all of the cities that around Horry County: Atlantic Beach, Ana Baber, Cool Springs, Bucksport, Burgess, Conway, Longs, Loris, Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach. And in this directory, we were able to contact all the Black businesses in these areas I just named, and we put these businesses in this directory. and it has been very helpful in so many ways, because it really it's a point of history. And not knowing whether or not we had all of these businesses at this time, back in 1976, 1978, we had all of these businesses at our fingertips, and pretty much all of these businesses were owned by African Americans or people of color. Places like the Palmley's Grill and Motel down in Atlantic Beach, Rucker's Big Sausage on Atlantic Beach, Skeeter's #2 restaurant and motel. It was just an eye awakening of how many businesses that we actually had back during that time. If I were to compare then to now, I would probably say that we probably would have less businesses. And I think the point is that there are businesses out there and businesses that are owned or run by us, but we don't know it. And so the other thing I think we have to do is encourage our young people to create their own businesses. We have to encourage them. If this was done back then, 1976, 78, why can't it be done now? And I want to say in a way that, you know, I'm not trying to say that we're trying to be separate from anybody, or trying to play that this is just somewhere down the line racist. Other people have businesses. Why can't we have our own businesses? And why can't we patronize businesses that are in our community, that are owned by people of color? And so when we look at history, much of our history, if it is not written, it is unknown. And so my point today is to encourage our young people. They need to be involved. We need to give them some space, and we need to encourage them not only how to start a business, but also how to keep the business. And so as we look at where we are today, but not only in the business aspect, but also in the political arena. Yes, we need to encourage them to go vote, but at the same time, we need them to run for office. Well, we don't look at it in a sense, but politics becomes a business too. It might seem like it's on a different level, but even in politics, positions are passed from one relative down to another relative. And so we have to encourage our young people. I'm going to say this, maybe somewhat out of focus, but we're losing too many young people with good minds who already have ideas of what they want to do and what kind of business they want to have. And so it's important for us, those of us who are in the community, those of us who have leadership positions in our community, it's pretty much also on our shoulder to try and guide some of these young people in their affairs of owning businesses and running businesses. And so it's just important for us. Here we are in 2020. we don't know how many black businesses we have in our community. Right here in Conway, we really don't know how many people of African American color in Conway that actually have businesses. And I think sometimes what happens is people are not associated if business don't have a big name behind it. But there are many people in our community that have craft, that do have a business. But we also oftentimes go outside because we're not aware. And so this is another challenge. This is the ultimate challenge, I think, for us. If we can get a couple of people together and put together an updated business directory of businesses pretty much in some of these same areas, that we can have sometime hands-on. But it's important for several reasons. One, it helps build economics in our community. It also builds more businesses in our community, because as we help one another, share with one another, it benefits everybody.
That's a key point there. And that's at the threshold of supporting community businesses.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's the bottom line of all that. When a person opens a business in your area, your neighborhood, I think we overlook the importance of supporting that, even regardless sometimes of the price difference of that particular establishment versus going 15 miles away to get something cheaper. Okay. And I guess in essence, we need to be educated about supporting a small business. Mm-hmm. I think that's the bottom line of that. And once we find out, okay, once we get educated on that, I think we can better move forward in terms of having small businesses in our neighborhood, right down the street. Okay,
yeah. Brother Edward, I must say this. I'm kind of confused, and I'm going to say this as politely as I can.
Well, I hope you're saying to me.
No, I'm saying it to whoever's listening.
Yeah.
For the past 2 years, I've been working on the network.
Right.
It is essentially the digital age's Black business directory. It is exactly what Reverend Falk just described. Okay. You have the Whittemore Community Magazine, which preceded my effort in a very community-oriented way. So you pretty much had the grassroots version of not only a Black business directory, but you also have a Black media piece that supports the Black community, that also targets the Black community in terms of showcasing Black businesses. It's being done. There is no need to duplicate efforts. What we need to do is to collaborate, which is what I'm having a problem with the network. I have a website. I have a group on Facebook. I run social media across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and 2 websites, the Whittemore Community Magazine's website and the network. You're right about the support factor. The support factor is not there. It is like pulling teeth, getting our people to add their businesses to the network website, which is a free listing. They have to do nothing but fill out a form. Okay. I think that I kind of take issue with what's being said, mainly because the effort is there. The time and the energy has been put into creating something that is more incredible than we've ever had before. We can do the paper directory idea, but we need to do it for today's time. And that's what the network website is all about. So what we're talking about doing, I think we should push any energy or effort, gather these people Reverend Fox talking about, and make them ambassadors of the 2 media platforms that are already out there, so that we can grow those pieces which are trying to be the conduits for connecting Black businesses to community. I can pull up the website right now and show you what is on the website. Reverend Falk is right. For whatever reason, it is very hard to identify the Black businesses in this area. I don't know if they don't want to be found, or if they're not really registered, and so they're fearful of being found. There's a lot of different reasons that I have been analyzing over the past few months. And I'm going to be very passionate about what I'm about to say, because this is something that I believe we as Black people need to change in terms of our mindset. We can't continue to want a seat at the table if we're not even willing to build our own tables. We always talk about resurrecting Black Wall Street, which if you understand the history of Black Wall Street, they fought hard and worked long for what they had in Tulsa.
For a long time.
For a very long time. Okay. And to be honest, we don't have to fight as hard as we did back then. Okay. Because people like myself and you are able to pull up chairs to the table and say, come on and have a seat. But for some reason, we can't get folks to come to the table or to even acknowledge efforts of those of us who are trying. There is no need to reinvent the wheel. If you see someone doing it, support that person's effort. Support the Whittemore Community Magazine. Run an ad in that magazine. It is the most cost-effective medium that is out there in terms of being a publication that reaches the Black community. And it's not only just for the Black community, because there are businesses in there that are not Black-owned businesses. The network was developed because, as Reverend Fox said, we do not have a business list anywhere. It's hard for us to identify who the landscapers are, the plumbers, the carpenters, the caterers, the babysitters, whoever we need in our community. And yes, it's okay for us to have our own listing of services, because we've been marginalized for so long, we don't even know where to begin looking for our own services. So before we begin to push an effort to create something that's already there, we need to create more of an effort to support what already exists and make sure that people understand the network and they understand the Whittemore Community Magazine. And if anyone asks in our communities, how can I get connected to the Black community? You can do it through the Whittemore Community Magazine, and you can do it through the network and the network live. These 2 magazines and these 2 efforts actually support the Black community. And I have even opened up the website, because the network group on Facebook is a closed group. It's closed for a reason. It's a safe zone for conversations, for issues, for things that we can discuss, as well as promotion of business. There are lots of closed groups on Facebook. That's nothing new. But the network's website, which is the networkconnects.com, is a public website. That means anybody, Black, white, red, blue, purple, it doesn't matter. If they are looking for a Black business that they want to support, they can go to that website and find that website. So anyone who's watching now that is a Black business owner in Horry, Georgetown County, surrounding areas, Marion, Williamsburg, all up into North Carolina, wherever, it is a global site. I have people on that site from all parts of the country, including the islands, as well as the network group. We all have to learn how to support our own, and we have to learn how to collaborate and work together. Strength in unity. Unity. That's the part that's missing. We have to put ourselves out of the equation and realize what the bigger picture is. The bigger picture is making sure that magazines like the Whittemore Community Magazine are sustainable. Websites like the Whittemore Community Magazine.net are sustainable. Websites like the networkconnects.com are sustainable if we want to realize generational wealth in our communities, if we want to become aware of where the Black businesses are in our community. Maybe we're just talking. I mean, maybe it's just fashionable to say that's what we want. I need to start seeing the action behind it. I need to start seeing the collaborative spirit. I need to start seeing more of what we really say we want in order to elevate and revive economics in the Black community. I told Brother Edward earlier that I actually have some pictures of a couple of storefronts and business fronts along the Race Path Avenue. Only 4 pictures that somebody posted earlier today. It got a lot of attention because people were attached to the nostalgia that was behind these photos. And I'm willing to show these photos right now. Can I show them, Brother Edward?
Yes, ma'am, you may.
I'm going to show you these photos. And for those of you who are watching, you probably recognize most of the photos. There's really, do you recognize this particular photo right here? These 2 photos. On the left, Wright's Grocery. On the right, Old Billy McLeod's. Do y'all remember that? There's the Race Lodge. Okay. What's this? You don't even have to see the whole building to know where that is. And then, of course, we have Cherry Hill, which was right on the, I guess you could say, the edge of Highway 501. You couldn't hear the sermon for hearing the traffic. But the bottom line is, when it comes down to what we need to do in terms of supporting the African-American community and pulling together this Black Business Directory and all the other things that we say we want to do, we have that. We have that. But how can we get people more involved and more engaged in that? That's the part that I take issue with.
April, I welcome your passion on this subject. However, I guess I'll say however, I think we have to educate a mass amount. We have to educate the masses on the importance. I think I said that earlier, the importance of supporting a business, okay? Of supporting a business in your community. That's so important, because if you have a child or children, that business could be the cornerstone to this child's support for earning money, okay, and giving that child a sense of worth in working, okay. That existed before, even in Conway.
Mm-hmm.
That existed, right, Reverend Farr?
That's great. And I think everything April was saying,
absolutely true,
was a drive back in 1976.
And we got to get that back.
We had those thoughts back in 1976 when it came to not just from our associational aspect, but how many businesses did we actually have in our general communities.
Mm-hmm.
And as you see back from 1976, 78, that's a lot of businesses. But the point is, you had young people,
mm-hmm,
like myself, who was interested in that kind of information. And that was a major project for us as a Young People's Association to identify the businesses that we had in our local communities. Things, yes, have changed since then. In fact, most of these businesses don't exist now,
mm-hmm,
for whatever the reason. But again, that's why we got to encourage our young people to again have the mindset.
That's right.
To be in business, to own their business.
Brother Errol, could you bring us back on the screen, please?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead, Brother Farr. What you're saying is absolutely the truth. It's a mindset thing. You're right.
That was a drive back in 1976, 78. We were committed to that. The Young People Association was committed to that. Yes, we were under the umbrella of the association, but we also took different steps in order to help the association, the parent body, somewhat come to terms that it could not be all about just churching.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be about the economic aspect of our lives, and that would also help our communities and other young people,
right,
to grow. It was a task that we undertook, even though there were opposition to it.
Mm-hmm.
We at the time realized that this was something that was needed. It was something that we wanted to do. It was something we wanted to identify with. And so we were committed to that task. Just like today, there are a lot of people in our community who have businesses, but we're not aware.
That's right.
And oftentimes when you're not aware, you go outside. And so the thrust of what I was saying was, even today, we need to have some kind of identity of what businesses minorities, African Americans own in Horry County. We have communities all over Horry County. It would be good to know what business they have in arm's reach. And so the aspect of coming together and networking with one another is certainly another venture that we should be working on.
Absolutely.
Should not preclude that everybody in the community knows what businesses are there. I'll show you they do not.
That's right.
What trades they have. Many have trades. And oftentimes what we do is we'll go outside of our community to get someone to come in and do something that we have people in our community with businesses that could very well do it. I look at it as who ices colder. And that's a mindset that we have to get away from. We don't trust people because of how they look. Let's just be open and fair about it. Because somebody has a nice truck and has all the information on the truck, whatnot. We sometimes with mindset say, well, that person got to be a better person than the person who's got a pickup truck.
You're right. You're right.
Advertisement on the truck. That doesn't necessarily mean the person who has a truck well designed, whatnot, is better when it comes to whatever it is that you're asking them for.
That's some of the work, man.
So you know, I think it's important. I think I can't think of who does it, but I think from Columbia, I think usually every year have this big magazine. I mean, yay thick, but it has listed in there all of the things, businesses, whether they're doctors, whether they're lawyers.
I think you're talking about Black Pages.
Yeah, but they publish that every year. You know, so people will know what business are available to them. So I just think that sometimes you have to help people change their mind by making things available to them.
But
And I totally agree.
Is more accessible than those Black Pages. I mean, yeah, right. The Black Pages, that's a hard copy book, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, and everybody is on computers. I mean, young people anyway. I think, but the network is the idea.
Well, I think to Brother Jerry Falk's point, as a part of the plan behind the network, for example, it isn't just to have the digital component. It's to be able to generate exactly what he says, which is a list, print and digital. Okay. Whatever I have listed on the network, on that website, I have also in print. The issue or the problem is getting the people to either identify the businesses, to make me aware or somebody aware so that they can make me aware or whatever. And we're going to have a multimedia type of an offering for people because, you know, whereas let's say in certain age groups, I'm gonna say I can't even single out age groups now because you don't know who's using the internet from who's not. It really is about whether or not they're comfortable with accessing the internet. There are people who are 80 years old who can navigate the internet better than I can. Okay, but to Brother Jerry's point, having it available in digital format, but also having it available in print for what we would call the old schoolers who have to have that piece of paper in their hands so they can flip through it. Yes, it definitely, all of it's needed. But my point was that there are certain things that have to happen in order for us to even create it. First of all, to Brother Edward's point, we have to have the support from our community. If we say, go to the website and add your name for free, your business name, your contact information for free, do it. If we put it out there that you can advertise in the Whittemore Community Magazine at an affordable cost to expose your business to X amount of people in our community, support it. And then we can spin that and evolve that into whatever we need to evolve it into. I've even asked for ambassadors for the network, people who can help me on different, because I can't be everywhere. So people who can help me on different ends of the county, different ends of the state, wherever, to bring that information in, to share it with people, to get them signed up. And I guarantee you, it's not happening because of what Brother Falk was talking about. There's a lot that needs to change within our mindsets. And if we don't do that, then we're going to have this conversation again 10 years from now when we're still trying to figure out, well, where are all the Black businesses? And there may be even fewer, because we're trying to establish ourselves in certain ways. We're not doing it legitimately in certain ways, which is another reason why we can't identify the businesses. Reverend Falk and Brother Edward, I don't know if you're willing to co-sign this or not, but I'm sure that businesses that were coming up back in the day, there was legitimacy behind a lot, right? You know, there's people who are just, you know, they're coming up with an idea and they're creating it in their kitchens and they're selling it out their back doors. And that's pretty much it, you know, and I'm not saying businesses didn't evolve from that, but they went from, look at Madam CJ Walker. She went from being in her kitchen to having a brick and mortar establishment, a millionaire, all of that. And it can definitely happen, but young people have to change their minds about how they're doing business. They have to change their mind about who they feel they need to create businesses and services for. And they have to be uncomfortable with having this much when they can have this much.
Yeah.
You know, because I think a lot of times we get complacent and we're fine with the 35 people who come to us every month when we can have 3,500 people coming to us every month. For some reason, it's just not happening. So to Reverend Falk's point, education is important. Like this Friday on the Network Live, I've actually invited someone to come and talk about what small businesses, especially small Black businesses, need to do to legitimize themselves, to establish their LLCs, to get an EIN, to, you know, get their paperwork in order. I don't even know if you two know how much money Black businesses were not able to access through the CARES Act and other funds that were available during this COVID-19 crisis because their businesses were not legitimate. And that part has to stop as well. So the network, and this is not about just the network, it's about the principle of the matter. The principle of the matter is, yes, we need a Black business directory. Yes, we need to pull together, unify, and identify where the Black businesses are so that we can access them, be it in digital, in print. But the other part of it is we need to be in the mindset also of rebuilding as we do this and making sure that we are supporting one another, not just putting it on paper, not just putting it on a website, but that we are bringing that money into those businesses and we're supporting them as much as we support people on, you know, on the outsides of our communities. If we don't do that, then we're always going to be where we always are. And that's my point of it all.
You know something, we really shouldn't have to have this kind of conversation today. I mean, these things should have been in order. You know what I mean? Like the businesses that we had. Reverend Falk, let me ask you a question. How many Black businesses are there in that directory, by the way? Approximately. Just a head count. You don't have to.
I would probably say offhand, probably 75 or more.
And I'm sure that was a lot back in the day.
Certainly, yeah.
Compared to today, do you think we have 75 today?
Oh, I know we have 75. I mean, over on Sunday alone, I uploaded almost 50 businesses to the network. And I know that's just a drop in the bucket compared to the membership in that group. I have almost 3,000 people in that group, but I have not captured all of the businesses that are in the group. And I know that I haven't because I'm personally reaching out to them to say, put your business info on the website. Put it on there. And it's not happening. And so, you know, there's just so much behind it. I don't know. I think we need to start with us. And I don't know, maybe that's a good symposium, Reverend Falk, that we could put together. It needs to start with us. Just bringing our community together, people who really want to focus on rebuilding Black economics in our community, resurrecting, the race path era, as far as when business was hot and things were happening along the 378 corridor, and making sure that we're visible not only in our community but all around the areas. We really need to figure out, and this can't be like the three of us can't figure it out. We need to have people at the table who really want to do this and figure out how to do this, and be invested in this, so that we can come up with a game plan on how to make it happen. I'm telling you, I'm at my wit's end. I'm like, I just don't understand what the problem is. why it's so hard to do when we say it so often. I know we're not a race of talkers. We got to be a race of doers.
And you know something, that doesn't jive with our history.
It doesn't. That's the other part that gets me.
Okay, it does not. So, and all of a sudden now it's so difficult for us to support a Black business, or even to open up one and make it sustainable. It's something's wrong. Like April said, something's wrong. I mean, obviously wrong, but just don't understand why it can't be replicated, or why we can't bring these things together. Okay, maybe a symposium is the answer.
Yeah.
Have we, April?
Now I know that over the MLK holiday, and I know that Reverend Falk is soon going to be putting together plans for the one, Conway, Horry County MLK events. But typically there's one on the beach, and they have their small business workshops. Maybe that's something we can incorporate into our MLK events as well. Or maybe we can do more to push people, going back to that collaborative spirit, to push people towards the MLK event that is already being planned for the small business workshops and things of that nature. But it has to be more than just one time a year. That's another thing too. And in an age when we have Zoom and other virtual platforms, you don't even have to be in the same room with somebody to create the platform that we're talking about. We can have virtual conferences. There's so many things we can do. But I think people also have to have the willingness and the motivation to want to be a part of it. They have to be willing to invest in themselves, which means if it costs $25 to participate, $25 is no big deal. You spend half of that at Chick-fil-A. Okay. So that part shouldn't even be an issue. No, I'm serious, Brother Edward. If you can go to Chick-fil-A and spend $12 on a meal, you can put $25 into learning how to grow a business.
Really? It's $12.
$12.
Well, I think that we have to ask the question. I think you probably said earlier, there's a problem. Yes, there is. The question is, have we figured it out?
That's right.
Because if you have these many businesses, Black-owned businesses back then the question becomes, what's the problem now?
Thank you.
Say, what's the problem? What was it that these people had
that we don't?
That no longer exists within us in our communities. Mm-hmm. And so we can get there,
but we have to start.
But it won't be overnight.
Right.
We shouldn't be afraid of failure either. Because you know what I mean. In these businesses, that comes with the territory. But that needs to be educated. Okay, we need to educate the people to let them know that failure shouldn't be the last of your efforts. Mm-hmm. Okay,
that should be the beginning of your efforts. Actually, you learn a lot from your failures.
Yeah.
But anyway, look. It's we've been here, and I want to add, but this is information that when we talk about value, this is where it's at. Okay, and I want to advise our viewers, if you're still with us, that check it out. This, just like April said, this Friday coming on the network. She's going to be talking a bit more about what we're talking about today. And these conversations need to be had every day. Okay. And I'm going to keep in the back of my mind or in the front about having a symposium. And Reverend Falk, if the members of your MLK are listening, we should think about incorporating that into this one. Even if it's on a smaller scale.
Mm-hmm. Start small. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, start small. And because we only a couple months away from that. And I realize timing is be a factor in terms of planning. So we should keep that in mind. And I'd like for us to bring that up in the MLK planning meeting, and hopefully it could be well received. Having said that, I'm going to close out today, and we can. I know we're going to pick this up again with this kind of information that's spitting out there. And I want to thank my guest. He had to leave, Dr. Hodges. He was in and out, but if he's listening, thank you so much for sharing that information with us.
Great info.
Yeah,
Look forward to hearing more from him as well.
Absolutely. And let the people know that this is what the Whittemore Community Magazine, Our Power, Whittemore WCM Live is now. That's what it's about, and also the network. If you can't get one place, you're gonna definitely get.
You should be getting both, actually. You should be getting both.
If you didn't get it, you're gonna leave up. Don't leave up.
I talk about both when I'm out there. You should be getting both.
On Friday, remedy right back at you again. So we're all about information, and it's the old adage that said information is power.
It is.
It really, really is. Okay. All you gotta do is take a peek at CNN, CBS, NBC, their newscasts. Man, some people stay up late to just to find out what went on, because that's the power. You want power wanting to know certain things, and we'll get there. Okay. So to our viewers, everybody, thank you so much, Reverend Falk.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Anytime.
My sister Janana, be patient to allow you to stay on here this long.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Be patient. And
all right.
She said she was patient.
I said, I'm listening. Great.
All right.
Okay. And
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And to our viewers, God bless. And April, anything last words you want to say before we close out?
No, just of course, just a reminder: free COVID testing drive-through services tomorrow at Friendship Missionary Baptist Church from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. 1111 Granger Road in Conway. Show up, get tested, know your status. That's it. Stay safe.
Be safe. Yeah. Before I forget, I'm going to say a young lady just celebrated her 100th birthday. Sister Ivor May Ward.
Wow.
100 years. Okay. And she shared with us her graduation picture.
Oh, wow.
From Whittemore High School. I'm sorry. Yeah, right. She shared with us her graduation picture, and she's in front of the building that was burned down, because Whittemore was once burned down.
Okay.
And they took that graduation picture in front of that building. This is very, very good info. I'm sure people would love to see it. We'll try to get it to you before the next magazine. If not, you're gonna find it in the magazine. So
we got to figure out a way to get how to get these octogenarians on here. They got to get their grandchildren or their sons and daughters or somebody to help them with the live stream. It'd be great to talk to them just to get their thoughts on everything. I mean, 100 years.
That's a long time. And tomorrow they're having a funeral. I believe it's tomorrow for, and I don't know the lady's full name, but they used to call her Miss Turk. 100 years. She's 100 years old. You knew that lady was that old? 100 years old. Okay. Anyway.
Amazing.
Yeah, 100 years old. So if
But
you get
it's-
the opportunity, go by Latimer Funeral Home to view the body.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Well, good business talk tonight. I appreciate Reverend Falk, and that's the second time I've seen that actual Black Business Directory. Someone brought it to my attention a month or so ago, and I think she had a copy that may have belonged to a grandparent or something. She was like, I'd love to know whether or not any of these places still exist, and I was like, I can tell you they don't. They don't, and we had a conversation about that. So it's just really interesting, but hopefully we can change that somehow, Brother Edward.
Yeah, I just got the information from Doc, who corrected me or shared it with me, and that the lady's name was Miss Albertha Smith.
Okay.
Okay. And she was 100 years old when she passed. I do. It's Albertha Smith, right? You typed it again.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And I do remember her as being an older lady. I do remember her being old, but I never knew that she was. Oh wow. Anyway, to our listeners, God bless, and God willing, we'll be around next Monday, same time at 7 p.m. This Friday at 4 p.m. Right?
Yeah, this Friday, the network live at 4 p.m.
Live at 4 p.m.
4 p.m. Mm-hmm.
Well, we've got something for you all. All right.
The doc has plenty for us. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Get your testing in the mornings. Start at 8 p.m. 8 to 12. Right, April?
That's right. 8 to 2. 8 to 2.
8 to 2?
8 to 2.
Well, I thought. Well, Doc, you better straighten us out on that now.
Well, the last thing you sent me said 2 o'clock.
Okay. All right.
Let me look at it before we leave, just to make absolutely sure. Yeah, it says 8 to 2 p.m.
Good. Fantastic. All right, Doc. And everybody.
All right.
We see you next week. Thank you. God bless.
All right.
Thank you for watching the Whittemore Community Magazine live on Facebook. You can watch a rebroadcast of this episode by visiting WCM Live on YouTube.